Hi, everybody. Welcome to integrating LinkedIn into your CRM. Really excited to have you all here today. Beautiful. We've got Canadians from Americans to Europeans and Africans, all the way across to Australians, New Zealanders, and many people in between in the East, the Far East, the Near East, pretty much everywhere. So it's good to have you all today. The purpose of today's topic is to talk about integrating CRM into LinkedIn, or should I say LinkedIn into your CRM. We're going to do this in 3 different phases. So the first phase, I'm going to give you a general overview. So this is very much for non-technical people. I'm just going to give you guys all a general overview of how My Most Trusted works, and then how the integration basically could, in theory, take place if you wanted to do it. The next step, Kel Holiday is going to be telling us all about how he has already integrated LinkedIn into his CRM, which is called Go High Level, also known as CRM Hub. And he's going to give you a perfect example of how you can integrate LinkedIn and pull the data out of LinkedIn and put it directly into your CRM using the My Most Trusted Chrome extension. The third stage of the session is going to be very, very technical. So if you're not technical, don't worry, we won't be offended if you drop off. Warren is our CTO, along with Joe, our technical head of technical for My Most Trusted. They're going to be taking you through how the integration will work between Zapier, the webhooks. We've got APIs and all that technical information that technical people understand. All right, so for those of you who are new here, if you could just quickly put into the chat, give us a scale of 1 to 10 on how technical you are, just to give me a bit of an idea, just so I kind of get an idea of who we're talking to. So welcome everybody to all those new people coming in. Really, really great to have you here. All right, so once again, there's a couple of new people, 3 different sections today. The first session, I'm going to quickly show you about My Most Trusted, what it is, and how you can integrate it from a front-end perspective, how it would integrate into your CRM. The second, and that's for non-technical people. The second session, Kel Holiday is going to give you an example of a CRM that already integrates into LinkedIn and how that data gets pushed across. It's really flipping cool. All right. And the third session is going to be for technical people. So it's all about the webhooks, APIs, Zapier, all of those complicated acronyms that a lot of us don't understand. So great, everybody, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to quickly show you a little bit about My Most Trusted. And for those of you who are not technical, and for those of you who are, just take a look, and we'll show you how the tags work and how a few little tricks work. So you'll understand how My Most Trusted works, and then you'll be able to understand when you get to the technical stuff later, how that actually moves into the CRM. All right, so let me get started and let me quickly share my screen. All right, so that handsome fella that you're looking at is me. So don't worry too much about him. He's just going to be talking for the next couple of minutes. And what I really want you to look at, which is much more interesting, is this little guy on the right-hand side. So this is my Most Trusted. Shuri, there's just a bunch of people coming in. If you could just let them in. Thanks. Thank you. Once again, I know there's a couple of people that have just popped in late. So just a quick summary. There are going to be 3. Sorry, I just let these people in quickly. All right, so I'm just going to quickly take you guys through, for the newcomers, I'm going to take you through the introduction, and then Cal's going to show us an example of a great CRM that's already been integrated, and then we're going to get very technical at the end. So if you're technical, please stay till the end, because that's where the fun will really kick in for you. All right, so this is My Most Trusted. Now, this is a Chrome extension that sits on top of LinkedIn. It is not an automation tool. Okay, I just want to make that clear. It is not an automation tool. It speeds up LinkedIn. It makes it a little bit more effective, but it's a bit like a very, very simple sales pipeline management tool. It is not meant to be a CRM. It's not meant to replace your CRM. And I'm going to show you how to integrate your CRM into this. And that is the purpose of why we are all here today. All right, so there's a couple of things I'm going to show you. I'm not going to show you how to install the Chrome extension that you can get online. There's a million different opportunities and ways and videos we show you how to do that. I'm not going to go into all the functionality. I'm going to stick very much to what do you actually do to hook into a particular CRM, and how does the actual data work. Now, if you use LinkedIn, you'll know that data is amazing. All right, you've got names, email addresses. Usually it's personal email addresses, but email addresses nonetheless. Probably about 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 have got a phone number that you can pull. If you're a first degree connection on LinkedIn, you can actually pull that data, job title, country, city. You've got a wealth of data that you can pull. And this is dream data for your CRM. The question is, how do you get it from LinkedIn and get it into your CRM? And this is where this little Chrome extension, which is My Most Trusted. And for those of you who want to take a look now, it's mymosttrusted.net. Okay, I'll put that into the chat now for you. And for those of you who are super quick and technical, you can actually get that Chrome extension installed now anyway. So this will take you onto My Most Trusted Network, and you can download the browser extension over there. So right now, this is a little bit tricky. I'm getting straight into the advanced stuff. The way that this process works, that My Most Trusted works, it works on something called custom networks. So your default custom network with the Chrome extension, and for those new people, I'm just doing a quick overview because I know that a lot of people have joined us in the last few minutes. I'm going through the overview of My Most Trusted right now and the LinkedIn data. Then in a few minutes, Kel is going to give you an example of how a CRM is already integrated into LinkedIn. And then the third session is going to be very technical. So if you're really technical, please wait till the third session. Thank you for those newcomers coming in. All right. So understanding networks is critical to understanding how data works between LinkedIn, My Most Trusted, and your CRM. And these are called networks over here. Now, this is My Most Trusted, as I mentioned before. And this little button over here allows you to switch networks. Now, what is a network? A network is kind of like a separate database or a separate pipeline or a separate management tool where the data gets held in different places. This is where it gets a little bit advanced because people use it for different things. If you are an agency, for example, and you have multiple clients and you run LinkedIn for multiple clients, then you will have a different network for each of those individual clients. And you can switch between them. The default is called My Most Trusted, which you can actually rename to your own name. So when you first install My Most Trusted, you're only going to have one of these in here. But you will then be able to create multiple networks using a backend tool, which we're not going to go in today. If you want to understand how to create these networks, we've got videos, and please contact me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat, which is scott@mymosttrusted.net. So if you want to understand any more, and the technical guys will put their technical details in at the end if you want to talk to them directly if you're technical. But if you want to actually contact me directly, just contact me at scott@mymosttrusted.net, and we'll show you, and we'll get you trained up on how to use these. But for now, I just want to show you what they do and the purpose of them. All right, so you can use them for individual clients, or you can use them for different target audiences. Now, these are separate databases within LinkedIn. So you might have 20,000 LinkedIn connections, right? But only a handful of those, maybe 500 of them, are relevant to a particular client or a particular audience. So you create different custom networks in order for you to be able to reach out to them. So for example, here's one called accountants. I've created a custom network for accountants. Now, within that accountants tab, I'm going to show you now how the data is organized. When I reach out and I do an invitation on LinkedIn, all right, they will go into the invitations tab of My Most Trusted. Okay, so here they are in the invitations tab. That's where the LinkedIn invitations go. When they accept that LinkedIn invitation, they will then go into the acceptances tab. You'll need to push the check acceptances button for that to work. Now, once again, this is not meant to be a detailed demo. I just want you to look how the data is organized, because what is happening in the background is it's getting pushed into CRM if you so choose. So we're going to show you. So while you are literally working on top of LinkedIn, the data can be pushed across into the CRM as you do it. This is where it gets really powerful. But first of all, I'm just going to show you how the data is organized. So if I'm reaching out to an accountant using a custom network, that accountant all those accountants that have been invited to LinkedIn will go into the invitations tab. When they accept my LinkedIn invitation request, they will go into my acceptances tab. When they are in the acceptances tab, they must be a first degree LinkedIn connection, obviously, and that means the data becomes available. All right, now there's a bunch of options you can use below here. And once again, I'm not going into detail. There's lots of videos. We can help you through that. Right now, we're focusing on integration into CRM. So that means data. This data, right, that's sitting on top of here is now separate to my LinkedIn data. So David Lafferty is a LinkedIn connection. He's a first degree LinkedIn connection, but he's now sitting in my most trusted in a separate database, which now means via webhooks or via the API, we can now get data to and from this into the CRM. All right. So here, let me give you an example. So here's David. You can see that he's been invited and he's been accepted. Now, these tags are going to become important when Cal talks in a few minutes, and then the tech guys and the CTO, my CTO tech guys start telling you about how the APIs and webhooks work, because they all run off tags. All right. So if I go to contact details right now, you'll see that I've got first name, David Lafferty, chartered certified accountant. He's from the company name. You've got his email address, and I've even got his mobile number. There's also additional data that can be pushed into the backend as well, but this is the basic data that's sitting for Lafferty. Now, this is the perfect type of data that we can now push into CRM. All right, and we'll show you how that happens in a second. Once you get from acceptances, we create some templates that can then go out. So I've got an acceptance message that I want to send to David. So I push send acceptance message. And what it will do, as again, I don't want to go into too much detail now, but it's actually pulled an email, sorry, not an email, a template message that I can now send to David. All right, so it's pulled up a little template message. It's put his first name in there, and I can then click send, and it will automatically send him a video because I've made a video specifically for accountants, and there it is. One little trick, advanced trick, is that this is a tracking link. If David clicks on this tracking link, we will be notified with a tag and also a notification in the notifications tab as well. It'll actually notify that Stuart Lansby, for example, clicked on the Forbes article for accountants. So we track clicks, and all this data goes into tags, and those tags can then be pushed into your CRM. So it's not just ordinary data, first name, surname, email address, designation, phone number that can be pushed into CRM. It can also be click data that you can push as well. All right. So it goes from new pending invitations to new acceptances. Once you've sent them the acceptance message, you can go into your follow-up tab, and you'll notice that tags get created on the fly. You can also manually create tag. I said, guys, I'm being a bit advanced now because I'm rushing through this because of time, but also because those people understand data, already understand how tags work. So some tags get created on the fly. Other tags you can create yourself. So if I want to create a tag called proposal sent, for example, I can create a tag, and you'll see that it's now created a purple tag called proposal sent. All right. And those tags can be pushed into CRM as well. So you can create your own tags on the fly. You can then move them up or down. So you can see there's people in first follow-up, you've got people in second follow-up, you've got an up and down. I can move them between tabs, and they create tags as they go. All right, so these are the tabs that they can move between, and these are the tags. Now, depending on what tab they're in, or depending what tag they have, plus all their data can then be pushed into CRM from here. Now, one more thing I want to show you is under the settings menu. This is where you're going to do a lot of your configuration. So within the settings menu, this is where you set up your invitation template. So, hi name, I'm a member of my most trusted network, where trusted connections build trusted partnerships and form trusted alliances. We just made a video for accountants entitled An Accountant on the Edge of Irrelevance. May I connect with you and share? This is my invitation template. Once again, it is not an automation tool. It just speeds up things. So this is not a bot. Just want to make that clear for all you you people out there. Then under settings, I've then set up my acceptance message. This is a video that I put specifically for accountants. This will create a tracking link, so I know if anybody clicked on this in the LinkedIn message, it'll create a tag for me, and some custom message templates as well. that I've created. So they get created in the settings menu. So once again, I can now switch between custom networks. All right, so right now I'm reaching out to accountants, but for example, when I went to Florida, to Sarasota, I created my own custom network with a different set of messaging, a different set of tags, a different set of data. And when I reached out to people in Sarasota, they all go into the Sarasota custom network, right? So I hope this is all making sense. If it's not, contact me. Different custom networks can be used specifically for segmenting the database, but they can also be used really, really effectively on a one-to-many level. In other words, you might have an entire team that all use the same custom network. So for example, I've got about 20 virtual assistants right now. This is super powerful, guys. I've got about 20 virtual assistants right now going out, targeting mindset coaches using the set of messages that I have created, especially for mindset coaches. Now, those 20 VAs are using their own LinkedIn profiles. All the data is coming together in a dashboard, which I'm not going to go into detail now, but you can actually see how that data, what they're actually doing and what they're actually up to under the stats page. So I can see, for example, let's find a good example. Here's a simple example. Like Andrea, for example, has invited 48 people. 25 of them have accepted. She sent out 24 acceptance messages. She sent out 16 follow-ups, and I can even see the click-throughs. And I can pull all that data of all these 48 people plus 25, etc. I can pull their names, their email addresses, all that information, and then push it into a CRM. And that is what we're going to start talking about now. And before I hand over to Kel, and he's going to show you a working example of how this data automatically gets pushed into a Go High Level CRM. The last session is the technical bit where you can do this to your own CRM, and you can push using Zapier, webhooks, API, etc. And the last session is going to be very, very technical. So before I hand over to Kel to give that example, I'm going to show you one more thing. All right, let's say you're looking for a first degree individual and you want to push a first degree LinkedIn contact into your CRM. This is what you're going to do. I'm going to just give you let's just go to my connections here. I'm going to take the last person that connected with me. All right, so I don't know this person. I'm just using him as an example. So here is Carsten. All right, so here's a first degree. Now in contact information, you can see that he has got his website information, his phone number. He's got all this data, email addresses, all this information, even birthdays. Right now, he is not in My Most Trusted. However, to put him into My Most Trusted and then push him into CRM if you wish, you can go to any of these tabs except invitation. You can go to acceptances, ready for first follow-up, second follow-up, etc. And there's a plus button. All you do is you hit the plus button and you'll see it says use this button to bring a first degree connection into this tab. Hit the plus button, say yes, and it's automatically brought Carsten and all his data, photograph, everything into My Most Trusted here. And it's created a tag called previous contact. Now these tags are going to be very important when pushing into your CRM. So here's previous contact, right? So there he is. And if I click on this little button here, which is contact information, you can see it's pulled his first name, surname, designation, company name, email address, mobile number. It's pulled all that data now into your own personal database. And he's now sitting under the Mindset Coaches database. Now, based on the tags, we can then push into CRM. So I'm not just going to delete him because I don't actually want him to do that. But this is the front end that we use that interfaces between LinkedIn and whatever CRM that you're about to use. What I'm going to do now, if there are no urgent questions, I'm going to hand over to Kel, because Kel is has already done this into Go High Level. And he's going to show you a beautiful working example of where this already integrates beautifully into a CRM. And then for those of you who are technical, stay to the end when our tech guys get really technical.
Sorry, Scotty.
Yes.
Scotty and Cal, before Cal gets going, there is an urgent question. If you can please see the last question by Paul. I think that needs to be addressed before we continue, please.
Okay, Paul says, how does this not break the LinkedIn terms and conditions? Right, okay, so there's a couple of questions about that, Paul. First of all, if you use if you get a third-party person like your PA to log into LinkedIn, you're breaking LinkedIn's terms and conditions. It's impossible to completely adhere to LinkedIn's terms and conditions. In fact, if you invite somebody that you don't know onto LinkedIn, you're technically breaking their terms and conditions. So on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of how does this tool break LinkedIn's terms and conditions, from the lawyers that we've spoken to, and there's been quite several of them, we're probably about a 2 out of 10. So full disclosure, we're not a 0 out of 10. The other thing you've got to remember is we don't scrape data behind LinkedIn, and we don't automate LinkedIn. We only scrape data on that page that you're on, which is an existing first-degree connection, and legally you're entitled to that data. So all we've done is, instead of you manually typing it in, first name, email address, and then pushing a button and pushing it into your CRM, we've scraped the data off the top of it, and then we've given you the ability to push it into that CRM. Once again, we are not scraping data behind the scenes, and we're not automating thousands of little bot-like messages that go out. So to answer your question, Paul, someone is really not happy with that, but look, what can I say? That's the way it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Kel, and Kel's going to show you how this works. Kel, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, mate. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Scotty. So I guess where I've come into this, and Scott and I have built a relationship as far as the CRMs are concerned, is I haven't played around with this, and those people who are concerned about the legalities and T's and C's and everything of LinkedIn, I've done a lot of research around that. And there is, other than Sales Navigator, which is LinkedIn's own product, there is none that actually meets what I would see the T's and C's better than my most trusted. So that's my own research, and everybody should do their own due diligence anyway. So what I'm going to be going through here as well is I'm going to be looking at the, for those people who know a high level or the CRM Hub, there's a couple of users on here today. I'm going to go through how we've actually done that. And actually, I just want to make you, I suppose, clear that this is a mindset of building a network, not selling or networking. All right. So building a network is a lot different. That's where the custom network side of things works. Is just a no-brainer to me. And what Scott has created here is phenomenal. And so I'm impressed with it so much that I've actually released a couple of best-selling books in the past, and I've actually just about to release my last book, and it goes through some of those findings within Unleash the Freedom Machine. So this is not a toy, and it is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, the best one on the market. When using it in the CRM, if you're using My Most Trusted as a Chrome extension by itself, it's a great product, right? But taking it to the next level of now integration within your CRM, there is a little bit of stuff that you've got to be very much aware of, purely and simply, again, about T's and C's for LinkedIn, as well as how you actually engage people, so they don't think you're spamming them once they are actually in your CRM. And so when you're writing your network building messages that Scott went through so nicely, is when you write those messages, you've got to write it, and you've got to make it very clear at what stage they're going to be in your CRM. And that then makes it quite okay to take their data and actually use it from a CRM perspective. So a lot of people go through the first message using MMT to reach out and say hello, and welcome them and invite them to be a connection. That's great. The second one is where you actually they're accepted, and you're going to take them to the next step. So where are you going to connect with them next? And so having that messaging very, very clear, if you're going to go into your CRM, one of the suggested methods that I've been using, and it's been working beautifully, is say, I'm going to, send you an invite. Once you get that invite, that will automatically put you into my CRM. All right. And we'll do some follow-up to make sure you get the reminders and everything through that. Is that okay? All right. So I make some very clear statements in that second or third message that they will be in the CRM, and that I will not spam them through that. It's purely and simply to make this connection easier than being on the platform messaging backwards and forwards in LinkedIn. And so having those network building conversations, it's not about selling. Can I just say that very clearly? People hate to be sold to. And so as soon as you make a connection, if they're going to reach out to me and they go, here's a connection, I'm going to sell you something, I delete them straight away. Those are the people that we don't want within this system. We do want the relationships. And Warren's going to go through very shortly about the third-party integrations using things like Zapier and webhooks, all right, and get into multiple different CRMs. I'm going to be talking right now about high level. So people who know what high level is, or go high level, some people know it as. It's currently the only CRM on the market where MMT, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Google are all fully integrated. All right, and I'll show you how that works. All right, and so a lot of people have a lot of different things. The Go High Level platform actually covers off all these things, and within CRM, it makes a massive difference. So you've got tools within this system that are going to take you to a whole new level. One of the things that Scott mentioned about when you're searching for different people, it works on the same Boolean search systems. All right, so you're doing all the Boolean searches within LinkedIn, and then this happens. So you've sent your messages out, you sent your first message out, and there is that plus button. Now, Scott mentioned that plus button to you, but there's also another feature. Once you start to get people accepting your messages, that plus button goes click, and now whatever tags you've got set in, now start to drag that from your My Most Trusted into your CRM. Now, once you've got the webhooks and everything in place, that's how it's working within CRM Hub, and that's how it works within Go High Level. And then once you do that, it comes across and it'll put a couple of names. Now, these are personal names that I've got permission to be able to use. And those names that we've added now have appeared within our My Most Trusted, instantly sync across into your CRM Hub, all right, or into Go High Level. Once they're in there, now you've got a choice. You can actually make the choice of, do you want to add them to your CRM, and what do you do with them next? And so once they're in your CRM, what we're suggesting and recommending, which is the system we've set up ourselves here in Productivity Hub, and that is to put them into a smart list. Once they're in a smart list, you can now nurture them appropriate to where they've come from. So the smart list is basically your LinkedIn or MMT smart list. And so you wouldn't then just go spamming them and put them into all your other stuff. You're now nurturing them purely and simply to make a contact from your LinkedIn. So your messaging here follows the same principles as Scott was talking about before. And that is, you actually are there to make a connection with them and to see if they're interested in network building. That's your priority. You're not there to do it as a sales tool, all right, and start selling to them straight away and put them into the rest of your database. If you do that, what can happen, all right, and this is as far as, you want to actually know about the T's and C's of LinkedIn, if you go and start spamming them at this point in time, they can actually get the shits with you. They will go to LinkedIn and they can dob you in from there saying, hey, they got my data out of LinkedIn so they can spam me. You don't want that. All right. So you can break the LinkedIn policy by doing it the wrong way, but the system's not, MMT is not the one that's actually breaking the policy. And so I guess with that side of things in mind, I'm actually missing a slide there, but the idea of this is that your data coming from MMT with a click of a plus button instantly drags all the tags across, all the different things across, and it's very, very simple. All right, so it's a very simple add to CRM. You can pick up those ones and make it happen. So I guess the mindset here and the mindset tip is open your eyes to an opportunity whereby you've got a tool here that is being thought through, has been looked at from a lawyer's point of view, looks at it. The areas of T's and C's that it's going to break is typically how you use it, not how the functionality of the actual application uses. Even going into the CRM, just to reiterate something that Scott said, which is a very, very important point, that is that once you've actually made a connection on LinkedIn, we must all understand that once they're a first connection, you can access their email address and all their information. You just got to go searching for it. It's all there for you to see. There's nothing private once you've actually made a first connection. What MMT has done is quite brilliant. It said, while I'm on this contact, rather than me clicking around all the different buttons and finding it, I'll just make a copy of that and put it over into MMT. Once it's then in MMT database and you're drawing that from MMT across into your CRM, you're not dragging it from LinkedIn directly into your CRM. So it's not a breach of any of their T's and C's. So I think that's a really important point, is to open up your eyes that anything can be abused if you do it wrong, if you don't use it as per its design. right? So I know Scott's working in the background to put in more safety features and everything so that we actually know, and more alerts so that, you know, when you go over the amount of people you can invite on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, how many people you can do different things with. There are limits from LinkedIn. And once you actually get into MMT and you understand those pieces, you know, the chance of you getting banned and actually breaking their conditions is actually quite high. So I would actually say to you, what's critical here, and Warren's going to go through some more stuff in a moment, is what's your CRM choice? It's a critical piece, all right, is knowing what, if you want to use webhooks or Zapier, or you want something that's already 100% integrated and it's done with best practice in conjunction with Scott and his team. All right, that's what we've done at CRM Hub. That's what we're going to be doing across the GHL network. All right, and we're going to collaborate with them, and there's going to be a whole bunch of referral partners for that. So that's where I'm at, and I guess if there's any other chat questions, I can definitely jump in there and answer those during the break. But that gives you a very, very short, sweet little part about how CRM Hub now integrates very simply into MMT's database, and now brings all the data that's collecting. It's brilliant data. It's data that you have rights to be able to see once you're a first connection. And all it's doing is making it an easy way to get it across into your CRM.
Thanks so much, Cal. Should we, in the next couple of minutes, do you want to just maybe do a couple of questions just before we hand over to Warren?
Absolutely. For sure.
Anyone got any questions on that, guys? I know we've kind of just gone through it pretty quickly, but we can pause for a bit of a breath now, and let's see if anybody wants to ask anything. Anyone out there?
Yes, Scott, at what point does a contact get put into any of your networks? You showed a whole heap of different networks, but when do they actually get into one network as opposed to another?
So you decide that up front. So you decide up front if you want to switch networks. So if you're targeting accountants today, then you'll actually choose the accountants network, and then you will go after accountants, and then everybody that you work from that point on will go into the accountants network. If you decide you want to target coaches tomorrow, then you switch to coaches, and then everyone goes into coaches. So it's just like switching between different databases. I've got my accountant database today, so I'm going to focus on accountants, but tomorrow I'm going to do network. So you can decide how that works. You can literally decide. Does that answer your question, Dean? You decide up front where you want to put them into. It's like different segments. Yeah. It's like a different segment.
You could even do it on the fly, like each individual profile you look at, you could put into different networks as you go.
Yes, you could. So if you've taken the last 10 people that have connected with you, and you see the first one is accountant, you switch to accountants and add to accountants. Then you move down. Oh, this is a mindset coach. Okay, let me take the coach, put them into the mindset coaches one. Oh, this is a lawyer. I'll move to the lawyer, and you switch networks as you go. So yes, that is one way of doing it. If you are an agency, then you can actually have them for different clients as well. So each client can have their own sort of white labeled or customized network on top of that.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks, Dean. Any other questions?
Could I just add to that as well, Scott, Dean? What you can also do, and again, what Scott's thinking behind this and putting the tags and all that type of stuff in there. So you're a CRM Hub user. What you'll be able to do is actually add a tag to that particular one. So depending on where you're up to in your technical expertise, some people might say, hey, hang on a second, I don't want to be managing multiple networks. All right, they just want to manage one. And so what you can do is put a tag in there, and when it comes into your CRM, that would then sort it out so you get your messaging right in that space as well. So there's two ways, and they can both run simultaneously together as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just a question from my side. So are you saying that the guys have to be accepted? You can't go and connect with somebody until they've joined the My Most Trusted or your link, until they are first level. Is that what you're saying?
No, so you can add them to My Most Trusted from an invitation status. So they could be on LinkedIn, and you invite them to connect with you on LinkedIn. And in that case, My Most Trusted will track them from invitation all the way down. Okay. Or they might already be a first degree connection, in which case you use the little plus button that I showed you earlier, and you can manually add an existing first degree into My Most Trusted, which can then push the data into CRM.
So you're making the decision until you're comfortable to bring them into the My Most Trusted.
Yes.
So you're making that decision. So the acceptance is happening on its own. You're getting all these acceptances. And then when you click on check acceptances, it automatically moves them into accepted. And from accepted, you're then going to put them into the network that you want.
Correct.
Is that what you said? Okay.
Well, so almost from acceptances, you
Yeah.
push it into CRM, but from acceptances, they will already be in, they might already be in your network if you've
Yes.
already put them in your network. But if it's just an ordinary everyday LinkedIn going back and forth, inviting, accepting, then LinkedIn, nothing will be in My Most Trusted. It's only when you decide to put them in My Most Trusted, will they be in My Most Trusted. If you decide to put them in My Most Trusted from the invitation phase, they will be in My Most Trusted all the way as they go through the process, from invitation, acceptances, follow-up, etc.
And I think the danger there is always that you can lose the credibility of the My Most Trusted if you're just putting every single Tom, Dick, and Harry in there. But you
Exactly
actually
the
don't.
point. That's
And I
exactly
think
why
that-
we're not an automation tool.
Yeah.
We don't just scrape the whole data out of LinkedIn. You've got to do it manually, one by one by one by one, in which case it's perfectly legal and perfectly fine because you have access to that data. And there's many court cases that have shown that. That is now public data for you. It's only when you scrape data behind the scenes and suck everything up and spam the hell out of them that you have a problem. And we're very, very much against that. Last question from Brenda quickly.
This might be maybe I'm showing my non-techness, but so the network is different from the referral circle. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are two different features.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Are you ready for the technical side? Does anyone else want to ask a quick question? All good? I'll give everyone 5 seconds to ask a question, or we'll move over to the technical side. 4, 3, 2, no one? Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Warren now, and also just a really huge kudos and congratulations and thank you obviously goes out to our tech team, Warren, and especially Joe as well. Joseph, well done, guys. You built a superb system. Joe, I know you've had many sleepless nights and over the months and years, but you guys have really put something together that's very, very special. So just a big shout out there to Joe and to Warren. Okay, let's leave it over to you guys. I think you're going to take over now.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. Yeah, thanks Scott. Thanks Carl. As Scott said, I'm going to make this very, very practical. So there's 3 things I want to run through with you guys. It should only be about 10 minutes or so if everything works out. Then we should have some time for some questions afterwards. So the 3 things I want to do is I want to just show you guys the API documentation, just a few of the endpoints, the most important endpoints and what they're for. Secondly, I want to show you how the webhooks work. So tagging a contact and then pushing that information across to HubSpot. I just picked HubSpot because that's quite a popular CRM system. And then thirdly, I'd like to get into the Zapier stuff and just setting up a Zap in Zapier and then again pushing that data through to HubSpot. So it's going to be very hands-on. I'm going to actually stop my video because I'm going to be looking at another screen. And I'm going to share that screen for you guys and yeah, let's see how we go. Hopefully everything works as expected. So here we go. Let's do a bit of sharing here. Okay, great. You can see my screen, I gather. Shout if not. All right, so as I mentioned, I'm going to start with the My Most Trusted API. So the API documentation is available via api.mymosttrusted.net. You'll see here when you get here, here are all the endpoints. And you'll see you can actually authorize your API key here. So you can test out all the endpoints and see how they work and everything. So I guess the first thing to show you is where you actually get your API key from. And that's via your My Most Trusted account. Scott kind of went in here and mentioned it. I'm going to use a network called Zapier Integration Testing, which we set up for Zapier when we did our integration with them, just because there's hardly any data in there. You'll see I'm the only user. if you log in here and you go to your network side, you can actually pick up your API key here. So I've just copied that to my clipboard. I'm going to authorize here that API key. And I can now play around with the API. So basically here, I'm going to run through around 4 endpoints, which are quite important. As Scott mentioned, all the data sits in a specific network. So the first one is this network endpoint. This is the one that's going to give you your network ID or IDs that your API key gives you access to. So if you just click on try it out here and you say execute, you'll get back the data here, and you see here that the ID of this network is 195. Okay, so that's the first endpoint I wanted to show you. You'll then need that network ID, as you can see in these other endpoints, to access data here. I'm not going to go into tags or stats or tracking links today. I'll show you users quickly. Again, we just click on try it out. We obviously need to stick in our correct network ID, which is 195. You can obviously filter on all these parameters if you want to. As I showed you over here, I am the only user in this network at the moment. So if I click on execute, it should only return my details. There's one in there, and that's all of my details. So that gives you all the people that are using your network. By that, I mean anyone who actually logs in and uses that network. I'm going to get into the webhooks just now. I just want to show you the invites quickly. So these are the people that you've actually invited to your network. Again, if we click on try it out and we put our network ID in, again, there's many filters you can use here. If you click on execute, I think I've added 2 or 3 people here. One is Cherie, and the other one is Gemma. It was just for a bit of testing earlier. So there's only 2 people that I've added to this network. Okay, I'll show you that via the front end now. So that's a brief introduction to the RESTful API. And this is obviously you pulling data out of the system. We're also going to then discuss the webhooks next, which would be the webhook actually pushing the data to you. So the way that works, let me just switch across to LinkedIn here and just show you from a front-end perspective what I've just pulled from the API. You'll see we're in the default network now. So as Scott showed you earlier, I'm going to switch across to that network I was just accessing, which is the API integration testing one. If I go to new acceptances, you'll see Gemma and Cherie there. So those are the 2 invites that we just pulled through via the API. There's the tags. I've added a Zapier tag to Cherie, which I'll show you why later. So yeah, that's basically the back end and what you see on the front end. All right, so let's get into the webhook side of things. Okay, so as I mentioned, you use the REST API to actually pull data, but the webhook will actually push this data through to you. So let's do a little demo just to show you exactly what I mean. Let's just go back here. You'll see you have your webhook endpoints. A webhook is linked to a user, and it's also linked to a tag. So via the API, you can get all your webhooks, you can create a new webhook, you can update a webhook, or you can delete a webhook. You can obviously do this via the API, but it's also available via your account. Let's just add a quick webhook here. Let's create a tag called webhook, just as an example. And then I put together a quick little page that picks up the data that's going to be passed across, and then obviously authenticates with the HubSpot API and actually adds that data to HubSpot. So that's hosted on this URL. So basically a webhook is going to take the data, the invitations data, and push it across to the defined URL. I'm going to save this. You'll see that's been saved. It's on the tag webhook. I'll call it webhook, right? Yes. Okay, great. So, okay, here I have, sorry, let me just move Zoom out of the way. Okay, here we are logged into our HubSpot account. You'll see here that there are no contacts in here at the moment. All right, so I'm going to now go into LinkedIn, and I'm going to tag Gemma. So I'm going to go into the tags and I'm going to tag her with a new tag called webhook. Add that tag to her. What's happening in the background now is the back end of the extension is sending that data across to that URL I set up, and that is connecting through to HubSpot. And if everything works out correctly, when I refresh here, Gemma should now be in HubSpot. There we go. Okay, so I only did it on a few fields, first name, surname. I'm just pulling through the domain here and the company name. So that all obviously comes straight out of LinkedIn and is now into HubSpot. Obviously, as Carl explained, I mean, it's much better. I mean, this was just a quick demo. Much better to obviously stick people on the correct list so you can send them the correct information. And you can do that also based on the tags that are coming through via the webhook. Okay, so that's a basic webhook example. The other one I wanted to show you is Zapier. So we've gone ahead and we created an integration with Zapier. This is obviously if you don't want to do all the work in the background and write the integration stuff, they take care of all of that for you. So I'm going to run through this from scratch. Let's see how we go. Shouldn't take very long. So basically, we've got our My Most Trusted network here in Zapier. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect to My Most Trusted, and we're going to pass information across to HubSpot. All right. So now we need to say when we want to do this. So what we're going to do here is you've got a few things. You can also pick up your users in here. You can pick up all the invitations. You can pick up the accepted ones, or again, you can pick up ones with specific tags. So I'm going to go with the tagged one. And then I'm going to say in HubSpot, I'm going to just add a contact, which should be an option here. I don't want to add it to a list or anything. I just want to add a plain contact for this. There are quite a few options here. Create contact. There we go. All right. So let's give it a go. All right, so basically you have to do the same kind of thing with Zapier. You need to authenticate because Zapier connects to the same API that I showed you guys earlier. So that API key that I pulled, I'm gonna obviously just stick it in here. And I'm going to give this a label. This is just so that you can kind of manage different connections if you set up different networks with Zapier. So let's just call it event just for today. So we're going to continue. All right, so we're going to go next. And let's pick up our network here, which is great already. We're going to say which tag we want to do it on, and I'm going to do that on a Zapier tag today. Okay, now it's trying to give everything up. So we've done the one side, now we need to set up the HubSpot side of things. So now, because I'm logged into HubSpot, I think it's going to automatically pick up my account. Okay, here we go. Choose that. Okay, good to go, connected to HubSpot. Let's use advanced mode. Okay, basically what we need to do is we need to now map the fields from our side to the fields in HubSpot. Which didn't really come up. Let's just check that out. Okay, here we go. So there are lots of them here. So I'm going to do a little search. Okay, so the first name in HubSpot is going to be our first name. Last name is our last name. Then we're going to say, let's see, company. It's going to be our company name. Somewhere. And let's just do email, obviously, because HubSpot does need an email address. Yeah, a million different email addresses. HubSpot owner email address, contact information, email address. All right, there we go. All right, so we've mapped a few fields. Let's just get down to the bottom here. So continue. Okay, it's going to tell us here we've made company. This is why I added that initial tag to Cherie, because Zapier needs a contact to pull. So what it's done is it's pulled Cherie via the API from here with her Zapier contact tag here. If there wasn't one tagged in here, it would moan at me and say I can't find any data. So we set that all up. Let's do a test. Let me just move Zoom out of the way again. This should now pull Cherie's information into HubSpot. This is our kind of test. All is working correctly. Here we go. Again, it's first name, surname, email domain, company name. And then you publish your Zap once you're happy that it's all working. Turn it on. And now let's go a step further and let's add Scott to this network. So we're going to search for Scott here. Yes. I'm going to go to his profile page. He's the first to do connection with me, so I can click on the add button. I'm going to add Scott, and I'm going to say, got it. Now I'm going to tag Scott. I'm going to tag Scott with Zapier tag. Say save. All right, so now Zapier isn't as instant as the webhook side of things is because it needs to query the API. So depending on which plan you sign up for, it does this in a time interval, but you can also just manually run it. So let's do that quickly. And I'm almost done, so we have a few minutes for questions. We can go to run. It's going to look for new items. Hopefully it finds one, which is Scott. There we go. It found one. So again, in theory, if I refresh this, we should have a Scott in here as well. There we go. All right. So, I hope that was not too boring, but that kind of shows you the API, how the webhooks kind of work, and how the Zapier integration works. So, yep, that's it. So if anyone has any questions, I think we've got a few minutes to address those quickly.
Well done, Woz. That's really good. Hey, sure. Very, very cool. Dre.
Hey, so for the what was it? The network ID. You were saying to log into the My Most Trusted account. For mymosttrusted.net/site/stats, do we have an account for that? Is that where we're getting our ID from?
Yes. So depending on, you can create your own account, which would mean you create your own login and set everything up. Alternatively, perhaps Scott or one of the team members has created that for you on your behalf. So if you don't have those details, then you can just touch base with the team and we can send you those credentials to log in so you can get hold of that API key and therefore the network ID. So yes.
Okay.
I've just put them in the chat now. You can build it yourself or one of the team will do it there, Dre. But yeah, it's mymosttrusted.net/site/login. If you just, instead of going to login, just create a new account, you'll be able to get everything from there. But if you do need us to walk you through it, one of my team will do that for you, no problem. Just email scott@mymosttrusted.net and I'll help you guys with that.
Okay, awesome. Because there's no create a login button on that page.
Hang on, let me.
Yeah, there's a separate link.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. If you're doing it via Zapier, when you set up your API key, all the links are supplied on that page. Sorry, I should have pointed that out when I was doing it, as to where to go to set up an account and where to go to log in as well. So those
Okay,
details
cool.
are there, but yeah, Scott, we should probably think about maybe putting that somewhere on the website as well.
Yeah, I think we need to. And also, Joe, if you could just maybe just put a link to the register page on the login page, that would also help.
Yeah.
Sure, makes sense.
Cool. Now we'll have that done for you ASAP there, Dre. Just yeah, just keep an eye on it. We'll do that quickly for you.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Any other questions? All good. Wow, guys, we nailed it. We finished on time. We've got 2 minutes left. If anyone's got any last questions before we finish off, but yeah, very impressive, guys. Thank you so much. Hopefully it gave you a pretty good overview. So once again, give me an email, scott@mymosttrusted.net, if you need any assistance to walk you through it. But yeah, we'd love to have you getting connected. So if there's nothing else, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Cheers, Rob. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you here today. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Bye.